स्वच्छ भारत अभियान के इस खास अंक में फिलहाल इतना ही। मुझे दीजिए इजाजत, नमस्कार।
स्वच्छ भारत का इरादा कर लिया हमने, देश से अपने ये वादा कर लिया हमने। स्वच्छ भारत का इरादा कर लिया हमने, देश से अपने ये वादा।
After the implementation of demonetization decision, the banking sector is working on war foot, and the biggest contributor is State Bank of India. And we have Arundhati Bhattacharya, the chairperson of State Bank of India. Ma'am, thank you for joining DD News and sharing all the measures that SBI has taken. First of all, you have immense experience in the banking and financial sector. So with your experience, how do you think this will curb the menace of black money?
Well, I think the first idea is that people who have unaccounted income, that they should come clean and they should put the money into the banks in order to get it demonetized. Therefore, it will give the government some idea as to the amount that was not getting reported. The second idea is that this should actually goad people towards using more and more digital. As you know, cash leaves no footprint. But whenever you go digital, there is always a footprint. And this is actually very good for the economy. Good in this sense that even small traders today, we are not able to fund them because we have no record of what is their turnover and therefore no understanding of their requirement. Does that mean that they don't have requirement? It doesn't mean that. They do have requirement. What do? They go to the informal channels of money lending where they pay very high rates of interest. Now, if these people come into the formal channel and if we have some understanding of what is their actual turnover and thereby what is the requirement, they will actually be able to access loans at much lower prices. Today, for instance, we were talking to one very large supplier of a core commodity. He was saying that most of his main dealers interact with him through banks. So, a check is received or NEFT RTG is received and the commodity is sent. But the secondary dealers, that means of the main dealers, the secondary dealers are dealing in cash. So today we have told him that these secondary dealers are no longer lifting the commodity. So we told him that you tell your main dealers to get together these secondary dealers of theirs and bring them to us. We will be willing to fund them because at the end of the day you are the primary dealer, okay, the primary producer. On your strength we will fund them. Now all of these people, do you think they were not getting any funding? They were, but they were paying an inordinate price for that. Instead of that, if they do their transactions to the regular banking channels, yes, they will have to pay the government a tax, but at the end of the day, the comfort that they will get will be much superior. Not only that, they will also be able to access the formal banking channels, reduce their cost of borrowals, and thereby would be in a position to scale their business, which currently they aren't. So overall, this is a good move. It will be very good in the medium term. Yes, in the short term there are a lot of pains that we are seeing, but in the medium term it is definitely a good move.
You said there are pains in the short term. So how do you assess the readiness of State Bank of India and also other banks?
Well, readiness was zero because we didn't know. If you don't know about something, you can't be ready for it. And I think I'm one of the few people in the banking industry that had some understanding of demonetization because I was 3 months old in the bank when the 1978 demonetization took place. But at that point of time I was sitting at the counter. So my understanding of it was obviously very different. Because there was no information, we were obviously not ready. We have scrambled to get ready. And we hope that we have been able to come up to the expectations of the people. The people also have been very patient. They have understood that yes, this is something where the bank really is trying to help. My own people have been working day and night. It is one of those few days when I have not received a single complaint of misbehavior, and yet I have received accolades by the dozen of how the bank employees have really been helping. Bank employees in turn have written to me and said that we have never seen customers who are so willing to be patient, to be cooperative. In fact, there are customers who after drawing their money have not gone back home. Instead, they have worked the lines and helped other people fill up forms. There are customers who have emailed me saying that I am available on call, and if necessary as a volunteer, please do call me. There are clusters of people who are coming as volunteers to us. So even, you know, the general public at large, I think, they believe that this is a good thing. It is important not to have so much unaccounted money in the economy. Yes, cash is not going to go away. End of the day, cash is there in every economy. But it must not be unaccounted. People must report transactions. People must pay proper taxes. People must understand that if they don't do that, then this division between the rich and the poor will keep getting bigger. It won't get smaller.
Okay, then what are the steps taken by State Bank of India for the convenience of people who are standing in queues outside the ATMs, outside the bank branches?
See, for the convenience of the people, first and foremost, wherever there is space, we have told them to put up these shamiyanas, awnings. We have asked them to make arrangement for water. Wherever possible, when morning tea is coming for the bank people, it is also provided to people in the lines. So besides that, of course, we are having several queues. Wherever staff is available for making several queues, there is a separate line for senior citizens, separate line for women, separate line for exchange, separate line for deposits and withdrawals. So we are separating the lines also so that you can quickly finish the job. We are giving the forms out in the line itself so that when they come in, the form is fully filled. Somebody checks to see also that it is properly filled. So that inside the branch, they hardly need 60 seconds and they are out. So it's done very, very quickly once they reach the branch. In some places, we've also started experimenting with tokens. And the tokens can run into the next day also. So you don't have to stay. If you understand that the branch can do, say, maybe 1200 transactions in a day. So if you've got a token number that is 1220, you can come back the next morning, and the next morning that token series will continue. So that is also being tried out in a few branches. And if that operates, you can just come, take your token and go away. Maybe you will come back in 3 days' time. But that's the way it is happening. So we are trying to do everything possible to make it as simple for the people as possible.
Ma'am, give us a snapshot of how much transaction has taken place, how much money has been deposited into SBI, and how many employees are working on war foot?
Employees, everybody is working on a war foot. There is nobody who is sitting back, including myself. So everybody is working on a war footing. We have handled close to 9.5 crore transactions, and around 1.51 lakh crores has gone through us. Not all of it is deposit. I think around 1.05 lakh crores is the amount that has been deposited. About 20 lakh crores is the amount that has been withdrawn. So the deposits are about 20,000 crores, and the total amount that we have handled till now is 1,58,000 crores, of which 1,18,000 crores are deposits. That's the right number.
When we're talking about urban areas, we understand that people are facing a little difficulty. But when we're talking about rural areas, remote areas, what is the challenge that to take the money over there, suffice the needs of the rural area?
See, first and foremost, you know, if you have to take money into rural areas, you need security in order to move the treasure. So that, of course, is a very big logistical issue. Though, to tell you the truth, the state governments are all cooperating, and they are trying to provide whatever we require. We have no complaints there. Having said that, it is still a question of coordination as to how we move the money in to these rural areas. The second thing in the rural areas is the number of people per branch is smaller. Though 64% of our branches are in the rural areas, but normally because business levels are lower there, so the number of people are also lower. So that again is a very major challenge in the rural areas. These huge number of queues that I'm talking about is possible in larger branches, not in the smaller branches where the maximum number of staff could be 3 or 4. So that is the reason why we are now trying to energize our BC channels. Around 30,000 BCs are working in the rural areas for us. All of them, we have increased their withdrawal limits by 5 times. We have tried to ensure that the cash at POS, a POS machine can take your money for doing the business. It can also dispense cash. Dispense meaning it can give you cash. So that also we are trying to energize. We have about 80,000 of these machines in the rural areas. So all of them we are telling that if you need cash in order to dispense it to people, please go ahead and do it. We are working with other people who have networks in order to see whether their cashiers could also start dispensing cash on our behalf, and many of them could be in the rural areas as well. So many of these steps are getting taken, and they're getting taken on a war footing, so that more and more cash points are available to the rural people.
Talking about ATMs, people are queuing outside various ATMs, and when they reach their turn, it says no cash. So, and on that recalibration is also taking time. How much time do you think that all the ATMs will be recalibrated and people will be able to use any ATM they want?
See, already around 4,500 machines of ours are dispensing 2,000 rupee notes. Recalibration is now going on a war footing, and it is being done on an industry basis, because at the end of the day we found that the people who have to recalibrate are the common for all banks, and they were being torn between bank and bank. So SBI would say I need it, and some other bank would say I need it, and they didn't know which way to go. And in all of this the hassle, a lot of precious time was getting wasted. So now it's being done on a industry basis, and they are taking up clusters and doing it so that it gets done very quickly. So yesterday I think they recalibrated 10,000 plus machines. Today the expectation is 12,500 will get done. Hopefully this will get even more speeded up, and 15,000-16,000 will be reached in a matter of 1 or 2 days. And thereafter the expectation is that we should do about 20,000 machines per day. That's the expectation. Let's hope we reach it, because as people get more used to doing it, you know, the whole thing becomes faster. So we are hoping on that, and if that happens, then it's a matter of a few days by which the machines will all be recalibrated.
Okay. With so many people depositing their money and so much liquidity into the banking sector, do you plan furthermore to reduce the interest rates?
Yes, interest rates will come down. I have already said that this is absolutely likely, because we have already reduced interest rates by 15 basis points on the deposit side. This will automatically lead to a fall in the borrower side as well. Interest rates will come down.
Another question is, RBI's policy review is also going to come. Do you have any expectations that RBI would be lowering the key interest rates?
RBI's stuff you have to ask RBI. I am not authorized to speak on their behalf, nor do I know what they are going to do. So it's of no consequence my saying in any way. But from our side, from the banking side, I will definitely say that liquidity has come, so we will have to reduce rates. Remember, however, this is temporary liquidity. This amount, in fact, every day we are seeing the amount of deposits are now going down. We started on the first 2 days with 22 lakh crores. Already yesterday we were down to 13 lakh crores. So, you know, the amount of deposit is coming down, but on the other hand, the withdrawals are going up. So every day withdrawals are going up. Yesterday the number of ATM transactions was double that of the day before. So every day we are now finding that the withdrawals are going up. So this is a very temporary cash. It will go out again. It may take about a month, it will stay in the system, but after that it will flow out.
Okay. So talking about the long-term gain for the banking sector, what do you say? What will be the long-term benefit?
See, long-term benefit, one is about 10-15% of this cash will stay in the system. I don't think 100% will go out, because there are a lot of people, small value people, whether they be housewives, whether they be day workers, casual workers, who had squirreled away some amount of money. Now they have got an account and they have put it in, they'll keep it there. I don't think they will take it out in a hurry. So 10-15% is cash of this kind. This cash will actually remain in the economy. The other thing that we are hoping is that many more people will opt to use the banking channel and the digital medium in order to do their activity. That will be the real gain. As I told you, if I can get the sub-suppliers of the main suppliers to come in, I am sitting with mudra loans, I want to give it to them, but they must, you know, opt for it. So, you know, if these people come, then it will be really a very good thing. People keep saying that 94% of the SMEs in this country are not included in the banking system. One of the reasons is this: everybody does everything in cash. How do you include them? So once they get out of this all cash method and they come into the banking system in a sustained manner, it will be a big fillip for the banking industry.
My next question was of SME only. How do you think this decision will give a boost to the SME sector?
As I said, you know, the SME sector will be much more able to access the banking system, and for that, if they put in a POS machine, I immediately can capture 1 month's sales. According to that, I can give him money. It's a very simple thing. It's a matter of 2 hours and he has the money. Okay? Or even otherwise, when I'm putting in the POS, if he tells me this is the number, I will give him something immediately, and thereafter ensure that what the number he is giving is actually the number in a month's time, and I will increase the amount that he gets. So, you know, within a very short period of time, all of these people can actually access the banking system in order to leverage, in order to start growing.
The government is, reviewing the entire process and implementing whatever is required on daily basis. And they have, today only we heard that they have brought down the exchange, the amount to 2,000. How do you think, what would be the reason of this, and wouldn't this be causing inconvenience to genuine people who are coming and exchanging their notes?
Because, you know, the idea is genuine people should open accounts and put their notes in the accounts. Now, if you are genuine and if you don't have any problem about putting the cash in your account, why do you want to do a over-the-counter exchange? Actually speaking, our own experience is that this channel was being very badly abused. You know, entire people from entire factories were being brought and stood in a line. The family members of workers were being transported by trucks and brought to certain branches, made to stand in a line and given 4,000 rupees in cash. We have found 12-year-old, 13-year-old people standing with children standing with their Aadhaar cards with 4,000 rupees in the line. Now, it's difficult to believe that that is their own money. So, you know, this was being abused, and therefore I think it's important to understand that 2,000 rupees we want to give to everybody, give to as many people as possible. Let it be their own money, let it not be something that is used by others in order to abuse the system. And if you are a genuine saver, please come open your account. We would like to put out a red carpet for you. Come and put the money in your account and then take it at your leisure. Whenever you are opening an account these days, even for a financial inclusion account, you get a RuPay card that enables you to actually do cashless transactions in so many places. If you want a POS, even the vegetable vendors, etc. So we will be able to provide that to them as well. So I want those things to happen.
Ma'am, my next question would be that government has also taken this decision and implemented it for the benefit of families who are having weddings, and also special relaxation for the farmers and agri-business, agri-traders. How will this implementation of the decision will elevate their problems?
Well, to some extent, you know, during weddings, a lot of people have been saying some cash needs to be given. The government has been consistently taking a stand that most of the payments you should be able to make in checks. So whether it is for the people who put up the tents or the caterers or even the bigger traders who do the flowers, so things like that you should be able to make in checks. However, there are still some labor charges that you need to do, which people were finding very difficult to defray. So that is the reason that government has said that from one account you can take up to 2,50,000. So to that extent, the small value expenses that are there for the government for the wedding, that should be done through this. The rest of it, whether it be for clothes, whether it be for food, whether it be for gifts, whether it be for jewelry, all of this that the government wants, that it should be done through the other banking channel, that is the transfer channel, you know, the digital channels or the transfer channel. It can be just check payments also.
For the agri-traders and farmers?
For the agri-traders and farmers also there is a labor component. See, whenever we are giving loans, and the loans, our average size is 1,50,000 rupees. Now out of that they normally have to pay for seeds, they have to pay for fertilizers. Now these are dealerships. Most of the dealerships have POS machines. So there is no problem because they all have cards, Kisan credit cards. So they can swipe, they can pay with the credit card. Where they have a problem is the labor. For the labor you very often have to pay in cash. And that is why the government today has allowed around 25,000 to be released in cash.
Okay. I want to understand from you, ma'am, that when we are talking about terrorism funding and curbing the black money, completely shutting it off, how will this help to the nation?
Well, the biggest help is terrorism funding. I don't think I have to explain. If terrorists are coming with counterfeit cash, that means, you know, they are actually getting away, getting value where there is no value. So if people transport counterfeit cash and pay off our people to create problems, that payment will stop. So obviously the problems will also stop. That is one. Regarding the black money, of course, the biggest problem is in India, we have a very small tax base. The direct tax base is only 4%. If you look at any BRICS country, it is far more. Even in a place like Brazil, the tax base is 11%. Now out of 1.3 crore people, there are only 4% direct taxpayers. Now it is very difficult for the government to carry out social infrastructure creation with such a small tax base. And that is the reason why the tax rates, the indirect tax rates have been going up, because there it is very difficult to not give whatever are the taxes. But there again, if you do only cash transactions, you can avoid taxes. GST will help curb this to a great extent, and this is the other step where you are trying to tell people that in order to carry on this war, you need to be able to bring things on a formal channel. I remember when I was a child and I used to go to shops with my parents, we used to see signages saying that please ensure that you take your bill. Now that reason was, if you get a bill transaction, that bill transaction will be reported for revenue purposes. Today you don't see any much of those signages, and if you're doing buying and selling in cash, and the reason is that the consumer feels I'm paying a little less. He may be paying a little less, but obviously not only is he paying a little less, the trader is also not declaring it as turnover, not declaring it as income, and his taxes are also not getting paid. So is the case with many other things. And the moment you have a lot of cash, corruption comes into the economy, because cash leaves no footprint, as I said. So there are various places, whether means I'm not only saying it's the trading community, it's everybody. So there is a lot that is happening everywhere. We are aware of it, and I think it is important that we stop it.
Okay, we know that the notes of 500 have started getting printed, and it's also reached the RBI. Till when can the circulation of 500 currency note can be expected in the hands of public?
So every day more and more notes are coming. So we have to be a little patient for the flow to pick up speed. But the printing presses are working 24 hours, 24/7 they are working. So as they are getting printed, they will get supplied. I am really not able to tell you what is the volume and where. That is more a question that RBI should take actually.
My last question to you would be, how would you give an assurance to the customers who are standing in the queue since as early as 5 AM and still waiting patiently and hailing the government's decision? What would be your assurance to them?
The assurance is that we are aware that there is pain. We are aware that when a system has got to be rejigged the way we are trying to do it now, there are obviously going to be glitches. It's not going to be easy or simple, but the ultimate objective is good, and if it is achieved, then it will be good for the country. As I told you, it will be good for the small traders as well. They don't need to always remain small, they can become big. Today they are not able to become big because they are not able to access the regular financial system. They have to pay a lot of interest. So for them also it will be big. Similarly with small industrialists, similarly with professionals. The fact of the matter is, as you become more a part of the regular economy, the path ahead becomes much better and smoother. So for everybody, whether it be for the consumer, whether it be for the person selling the goods or services, whether it be for the government, it is important for us to realize that this is an exercise that is being done in order to ensure that we have one economy. We don't have two parallel economies. And if you put all of that into one economy, our GDP will actually be much more than what you are seeing it today. The unaccounted piece is not really calculated for GDP purposes. So actually speaking, our GDP could be much more than what we are actually seeing. So it is in everybody's interest to ensure that this happens. Over a period of time, we have found that somehow or the other, this compliance has not really seeped into the way we do business. There are very many reasons for it. I am not saying that only people are at fault. There are very many reasons for it. For instance, one of the reasons we were seeing in India, a lot of our shopping and our marketing, these are done by people who may be illiterate. So they may be working as caretakers in our houses, they may be driving our cars, They may not know how to read or write very well, but they do all of our shopping, etc. Now the fact of the matter is, in developed countries, people do everything on their own. They cannot afford to have household help like the way we have. Now because they do everything alone, it's easy for them to work with plastic. But for a household help, what will you do? You have to give him cash. Today, in fact, we have got the impressed cards which SBI has, and we are giving it to the household help, telling them how to use the card. But normally to a household help, you will give cash, and that is why the cash economy has come about. So I am not saying it is anybody's fault, it's the way the society is. But I think it's time that we change. It's time that we realize that it is important not to have such a cash intense economy. We want to go into a less cash economy.
Related to this, I have to ask you that how much time will it take to smooth things out?
It will take a little time. It depends upon how soon we can get back to regular banking. Today, as you know, the crowds that are thronging the branches are mainly for exchange and of course for depositing. So as this sort of thins out, and every day, as I told you, the numbers are going down, as this thins out, maybe another 6-7 days time, we should be able to see some little normality coming back.
All right, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
So that was Arundhati Bhattacharya saying that this move of demonetization will help our economy. This will make our economy one economy, in turn making our GDP grow higher, and this will definitely be a beneficial factor for everyone in the country.